my name is Priscilla. I live in Brooklyn.
Happy Brooklyn Museum.
Right. I'm the mom of Olympia, and
now
I'm the founder of Faubourg, a conscious luxury and ethical fashion platform.
See you tomorrow.
See ya.
Bye.
Clearly, it is not easy on a daily basis. I'm juggling so many things. Even without a child, running a business, being an entrepreneur is very difficult because you just have so much to get done in a little time, and that can get very stressful. And on top of it, when you add, having to care for your child, which is for me a huge priority, I kind of don't want to choose, between running Faubourg or taking care of Olympia. So it's constantly this finding the balance kind of thing. I think what helps me stay grounded is to focus on the long term. Because usually when I get stressed out is because I'm so involved in the immediacy and, things look overwhelming. But then I take a step back and I look at it from, okay, why am I even doing this in the first place? So the big picture really helps me stay cool and deal with things, with more serenity. There's also the stress that comes from self-doubt, that you're not good enough or you're wrong. And that's when I find being a mother grounds me, because just looking at her, I know that I've done something wonderful and I have to show her the best me so that she can be the best at her, So that's the one aspect, and it's definitely amazing to come home when she's in a good mood, because after a long day you also don't want her to be tired and adding on to your stress. It's not easy every day. So I pray that she has that nap, because otherwise the hours between 6 and 8 p.m. are just super hard. But when she's in her best disposition, which is 80% of the time, or in the morning, starting the day with her puts a smile on my face. It does. So I do definitely feel grateful to have her. She contributes definitely to having that balance, mentally and just spiritually as well.
Semée avec un très léger relief sur le coton vert, demeure intacte et fraîche à l'œil et ne ressemble en rien aux fleurs gâtées du flamboyant dont son père transportait l'odeur coupable et triste.
I love to cook. I find that extremely relaxing. So not because there's a stress of, oh, it has to be right in an hour, she needs to eat, but just because I want to share something delicious with her. She's still very young. She still has a lot to discover in terms of flavors and ingredients and all those things. So it's like introducing her to a new world, and I love doing that. So it helps me find balance. I actually feel that that's a transition for me, that phase of cooking and getting the meal ready and sharing that with her. That's a transition. It's not necessarily the most peaceful, but it's the most, I would say it's very enjoyable. So it's like leaving that bag of stress out the door for a moment, but I cannot just forget immediately about it. So I kind of need this bridge between that and complete peace. So it literally is shifting from one activity that I love to another that I really love, and then eventually winding down, getting her to bed. And by the time she's in bed, then I actually reach my point of peace, which is usually some silence, lying down, or taking a shower, or hugging my husband, that kind of thing. So it's the same thing if I look at it from a daily basis. We need to do things that are gonna help us achieve the goal of raising a wonderful young lady, but at the same time, we also don't want to forget about ourselves in the process. So towards the end of the day, yes, I need to have some time either by myself or with my husband talking about things other than Olympia, but acknowledging that she's our priority for sure. I found myself standing in front of an old colonial house painted in milk yellow, with plantain and banana trees to the left and right of the compound, like the ones in our old house in Faubourg. I was standing precisely in the veranda, on top of the block of staircase that led to the compound. The land surrounding the house was flooded. I could not leave unless I swam across. In this dream, though the water was shallow, I found that I could not swim. Suddenly, a pair of bluefin fish that looked like tilapia swam to me and offered to help get me across. I agreed. They held my hands with their fins and got me into the water. I was laid flat in the water, but because the water was shallow, the top of my head and back, places the water couldn't cover, were exposed. I laid sandwiched in between their scaly, shining body and bulgy, glowing eyes, which suddenly seemed to have grown in size underwater. We continued swimming across until I woke up. Ada, what does it mean?